Hi everybody, it's Karma again. Welcome to episode 24 of My Life Stories. Please take a moment to go ahead and hit that thumbs up button so you don't forget to do it later. And please check out my playlists whenever you have a chance. Today's video has been sponsored by Pop's Trading Post. A link to Pop's Trading Post has been listed below. Before we get started, I want to say, during this trying time that we're going through, we have to remember to move forward and not give up, because the day we give up could be the day that everything changes. So you need to stay strong. Be kind to others. Small gestures really mean a lot more now than ever, and eventually this too shall pass and our lives can go back to normal. I believe in you. I have an awesome karma story for you today, so grab a snack, sit back, make yourself comfortable, and I will read you a story called Good Actions Generate Good Karma. I've been married to a wonderful and loving man who has become my entire world for over 30 years. Together, we had 3 boys who are kind, thoughtful, and industrious young men. I like your mantra of do something nice and help me change the world. So I thought I'd let you know about a time when this mantra helped not only my family, but gave respite to others and showed that sometimes karma has a sense of fairness and a mind of her own. At the time, I worked in an office and had 2 managers, who I will call BS and JV. BS was a blonde surfer dude type. He never stressed about anything and was the type of person that could stub his toe on a rock, sit down and cry for a bit, and then find out that that rock was made out of solid gold. I have never met anyone as lucky as he was. He once told me the story of his incredible rise in the executive world. He had graduated from college and was going surfing every day at the beach with his friends. His parents tired of his freewheeling ways and dictated that he at least make an attempt to find employment. He said he was really put out by this, and to try to appease them, he set up an interview for a job he said he knew he had no experience for and no chance of getting. During the interview, he said he was brash and had a "I couldn't care less about getting this position" attitude. They actually tried to negotiate the posted salary with him. He said he asked for triple what had been offered in the employment posting and then left laughing to himself as he caught up to his friends at the beach. He was very surprised when a few days later they called him and agreed to his terms. See what I mean about lucky? JV had what I can only suspect to be OCD, obsessive-compulsive disorder. Where BS was freewheeling and got on by the seat of his pants, JV was completely orderly and structured. Whenever he had meetings set up with managers, and they knew what he was like, they would slightly move something on his desk, like his calendar, his itinerary, or even his phone. JV would come into the office and immediately move everything back to its proper place. I asked one of the managers why they insisted on doing this each and every time they had a meeting. He responded that it made them laugh that JV could always tell when something was askew. So I had 2 bosses from 2 opposite and extreme sides of the spectrum. I spent most of my time doing BS's work and incorporating JV's work into my daily reports, and all was good. I met my husband one day when he walked into the office I worked at. He was a long, cool drink of water, and I remember thinking to myself, that's the man I'm going to marry. He had an interview set up with JV, and to my surprise, JV never came in for the interview. Because I knew how JV was, I feared that maybe he had been in an accident or was in the hospital or maybe even had gotten carjacked. I mean, you could set your watch to JV. He was never late and never missed any appointments. When he was 30 minutes late, I called his personal cell number and hoped for the best. JV answered immediately. "Are you all right?" I asked him in a panic, and explained that he had an interview that had been waiting for him since 8 o'clock in the morning, and now it was closer to 8:45 a.m. JV checked his itinerary and swore under his breath. Against all odds, he had missed this appointment. He asked that I notify the applicant that he could come and interview him, but it would be 11 o'clock before he could get to the office. I explained to the applicant that JV had just somehow missed the interview scheduled on his itinerary and asked if he could return closer to 11, but he said he really needed the job and asked if he could just wait in the office. This was really odd because most of the time, interviewees came in and immediately went in for their appointments and then came out and immediately left. I would process their paperwork and they either got hired or they didn't. I got to talk to this applicant and got to know him a bit. JV showed up at 11 o'clock precisely and immediately conducted the interview. The applicant, my future husband, stopped by my desk on his way out to say goodbye, and with a casual and breezy, "I'll see you later," he left the office. Unfortunately for my husband, he was given a store to run that was in one of the worst neighborhoods. He has countless stories he has told me of some of the customers he had to deal with, from the stripper that offered to give him lap dances in lieu of the rent, to the bunk beds he had to repossess on Christmas Eve. There were no dull moments to this job. We were newlywed at this time. I had quit my office job with BS and JV and found another full-time job from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we worked in different cities. So I decided to bring my husband lunch to his store on a Saturday when I was off. The first thing I noticed was that the mood was very somber. There were a lot of employees just milling about. I asked my husband about this, and he responded that they were his assistant manager, account managers, and drivers. "But it's lunchtime," I said. "Why aren't they eating?" "They have families to support," he responded. "They don't make enough to buy lunch." I was shocked. These men had demanding physical jobs. They were working this hard all day with no food or nourishment. All I had to do was look at their haggard faces to see that this was their reality. I have never felt more sadness than I did at that moment. I went back home and thought about this for the rest of the week. I could not get those haunted faces out of my mind. On Friday, I called my husband and asked him for his assistance. I asked that he inform his employees that if they finished their work by 12 o'clock noon and waited for me, I would bring them lunch on Saturday. I showed up on Saturday with my meager lunch for them. I'm Hispanic, so I bought tacos with all the fixings with homemade tortillas. I showed up at the agreed time, and it warmed my heart to see the atmosphere change and become lighter and happier. When lunch was done, I carried all my dishes back to my car, kissed my husband goodbye, and went home. My husband came back home in a good mood and commended me for the camaraderie and work he actually got from everyone. He said they had enjoyed lunch very much. I was happy because I had been able to do lunch for 8 people on a budget. I was glad that no one had complained about the food that I bought. The following Wednesday, my husband called me at work during my break. He said his guys had asked him if I could possibly bring lunch to them again. My husband, who was the manager, said he would ask, but could not guarantee that I would, as this was a big favor. I was floored by the request and asked my husband what they wanted me to make. "Tacos," he responded. He said they liked the food so much that they didn't want anything different. I remembered the looks on their faces and asked my husband if this would strain our budget. He said we would make it one way or another, so I happily agreed to bring lunch again. I brought lunch to 12 people. My husband simply said that some of the employees had either not believed I would bring lunch or had been unable to return from their deliveries last time in time for lunch. Now that everyone understood, they would be more careful about coming back to the store by 12 o'clock noon on Saturday. After that, my husband started calling me midweek every week for lunch on Saturdays. I simply gave up. I had offered several times to make something different, but everyone seemed adamant they wanted tacos. So I always made the same thing every single Saturday from then on. I made bigger quantities too because I kept seeing more and more employees there. Apparently, my husband's drivers had told the drivers from the other stores what was going on, so they started to make their way to us too. We never turned anyone away and had to do lunch in shifts to accommodate everyone we were feeding. One day when I showed up with lunch, I saw BS and JV at the store. "What are you doing here?" I asked. They said they had heard everyone talking about lunch and came in to try it for themselves. "It's for the employees," I informed them. "They can't afford lunch for themselves, but I know you can." They had lunch and then left. They asked me how long I had been doing this. "For a while," I admitted. "Why?" They advised me that this store was designated a graveyard. "Why is it called that?" I asked. I was told that this was a store where the worst of the worst employees were sent to get fired. "But," I said, "my husband hasn't gotten fired, and he hasn't fired anyone that I know of for a while. Plus, he's been making really good bonuses." "True," they admitted. That's why they wanted to talk to me. Morale had skyrocketed at my husband's store. People were asking to be transferred there, and their numbers were better than the other stores in their area. "Do you know the reason for this?" they asked me. I shook my head. They like my husband?" I volunteered. "No, that's not it," they said. "We think it's you bringing them lunch every Saturday." Eventually, my husband made the decision to go into business for himself and quit this job. I sadly gave up my Saturday lunches. The store, which had been producing great numbers and making a profit, went into an immediate steady decline and soon became a graveyard again. As I was writing this story, I stopped to Google the store, but it is no longer in existence. Why did this happen? I asked myself. Why did no one else care for these people? Everything had already been fixed and all the hard work had already been done. All that was needed was a little appreciation for the employees. I would have been happy to give anyone my recipes if they had asked. I guess karma decided that no one who did not put in any care or hard work would reap any of the benefits. Maybe everyone thought that making lunch for more than 20 people and driving an hour to get it to the store was too much. Well played, Karma. Well played. Thank you. Sincerely, CD. Great story. Changing the world takes some effort. A small gesture can have a ripple effect you can't even imagine, like in the case of this author. Let me know in the comments section if one of your small gestures has had a ripple effect like this one. Thank you to the author, CD, for this story. Please leave 3 heart emojis and any comments to show your appreciation and support of her. Likes and comments really help with this YouTube algorithm, so I would like to thank you in advance for your help. If you would like your story read on my channel, please submit your story to karma@karmagetin.com or post to u/Karmagetin on Reddit. All stories will be read anonymously with either initials, descriptions, or pseudonames only. Thank you again, Pop's Trading Post, for sponsoring this video. If you would like to place an order through Pop's Trading Post, please use discount code Karmagetin, all caps, for a 20% discount at checkout. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Feel free to share with anyone and subscribe and hit the bell icon to receive notifications regarding any of my new videos that come out. Remember, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And thank you if you're a current subscriber. You complete me. And that's my video for today. Sure hope you enjoyed it. And remember, do something nice today. Help me change the world.
It's not their turn. It's my turn to shine.
Catch you all next Tuesday, God willing, and if the creeks don't rise. Have yourself an awesome day and a peaceful night, and I will see you later.